The status of the hub at the moment is to acknowledge what we have built over the last year, and that is the strengthening of relationships that we have in the hub, particularly around the NBS that they are focusing on. The hub is focused on sustainable rangeland management, and the area is made up of grasslands, so that is very important for grazing. And they have challenges around how to manage this land well, and which climate services and which types of information are useful. The relationship with the community is based on something that is already structured. So we are plugging into a network known as the UMZIMVUBU Catchment Partnership, a multi-stakeholder forum that includes academic researchers, NGOs, community members, people from government. I think what has been important for us is to know that there are resource constraints. People are open to engagement, but they need the trusted information from the local NGO and CBOs in that area. The key nature-based solution is sustainable rangeland management. That is a very broad term. And because the catchment is very diverse, there needs to be some targets, right? So one of the big ones is removal of invasive alien plant species. And the other one is restoration of springs and wetlands when there are effects from drought. How we're framing this nature-based solution is more around a risk management system. So we're not necessarily targeting those activities, but we're targeting the decision-making around where to prioritize those activities. The climate services that we are focused on have to do with seasonal forecasting. Because the NBS is around managing the risks of climate, we've focused on impact-based forecasting. And this will inform also decisions around like early warning systems, but more so around planning and future projections. So trying to be that bridge between the early warning and getting information today on the weather versus planning for long term and using the seasonal forecasting and the impacts that it has to inform that. The progress that we've made in the last year is extensive stakeholder engagement. There have been particularly focus group discussions with the local communities that are working with community members. What we found through our stakeholder engagement that there is a need for prioritizing decisions because the landscape is so diverse. Over the next 6 months or so, we plan to have a quarterly meeting. And at that meeting, we'll present the climate services tool, which we'll co-develop with the Met services. And also to go into the communities and interview community members. So we'll be capturing 10 different stories from community members, and this will help us get an understanding of how effective nature-based solutions programs are at a subnational level based on people's experience. What we have planned here is for them to tell us the lived experience of how they have decided whether to stay or move from the area that they are based. So say, for example, if there was someone living in the area and they've experienced extreme flooding, did they decide to move or stay, and what was the reason? And since they've been involved in a project like Albatross, or they've gotten these extension services, are they able to then say, okay, I will risk it and stay because I have this information?